should steroids be allowed in sports, and especially in baseball? I mean, baseball is almost known for steroids now. Like, athletes are getting looked down upon, if they're caught using steroids, or baseball players aren't being allowed into the Hall of Fame because of their use of steroids. Like, should baseball players be allowed to use it? Should it just be disregarded? Because if everybody's using, then nobody's using, right? If everybody's using, then everybody's kind of on the same level. But since it is against the rule, these players that do get caught are looked as cheaters. So that's why they're not getting in. And like for example, Barry Bonds, like, he's got the home run record, but there's been accusations of him using steroids. So he most likely probably won't get in.
ESPN lists him as the second greatest baseball player ever behind Babe Ruth,
and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
I would list him as number one. I think, like you said, I mean, I know we kind of said it's hard to dictate, but I mean, it's just, to me, it's like I think Babe Ruth's kind of overrated. I don't have
just because he was back in the day, like, no, you were 1930s, 1920s,
exactly, and it's so far.
Yeah,
back.
It's 100. I mean, almost 100 years ago.
It's like these people that are writing up this thing. Nope, they never saw Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
they never.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
The people that put the list together.
And he was actually playing against like plumbers, and he was actually, you know what I mean? So
people that had other jobs and things like that.
And the thing about Babe Ruth is, about Barry Bonds is, he was a beast before then.
Yeah.
And the way I always looked at it is, baseball, a lot of people don't really think about it, but you need so much hand-eye coordination. You need to be
it's considered to be one of the hardest sports.
90 mile an hour fastball, you have a split second to make any sort of decision.
So, how much steroids, they give you muscles and shit.
Yeah,
but
does it really affect?
It's gonna maybe make
give
the bar
you more
go,
power,
and stuff like that. But you need so many.
You
other,
still need to hit the ball
first.
first.
Exactly. And to me, it's like, it honestly might actually kind of hurt people in a ways, because you
lose less like mobility in your arms and things like that.
You're not as limber. You're
flexible.
So in some instances, I think it could hurt people, but I personally believe that we should let athletes use
steroids.
Well, not even any like
just like HGH, just like because there's a lot of things that are against the rules, right?
You're going to create steroids that like become like what you're saying about hand-eye coordination. I'm sure they can probably whip up something that can help up your hand-eye.
I don't know, right? Yeah, that'd be difficult. That's like a whole different ball game there. But nowadays there's like a bunch of like steroids and stuff they have where it can like hit certain receptors to where they have certain like what they're going for. But at the end of the day, everyone has, steroids are natural. Everyone has steroid. Cholesterol is a steroid.
Yeah. When you go to the doctors, they'll be like, "Oh, I got to get you a steroid, or I got to put, inject a little bit."
They're different steroids. Steroids a broad term. So what you're talking about is like for like inflammation. Steroids a broad term, but when you're talking about steroids, you're mostly talking about like testosterone
HGH, something that boosts you up.
Exactly.
Gives you more energy and things like that.
Even then, those are natural. Those are our bodies are natural. That's why people get prescribed testosterone, or they get prescribed all these things. And not even steroids, but like performance enhancers. As a whole, they consider insulin a performance enhancer.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's on like the list if you're taking.
Well, I don't think it's on the list because of, what if somebody has diabetes?
Yeah.
But it is. It's used by bodybuilders, and because insulin, brings sugar into your cells. That's energy right there. So so insulin is considered a performance
HGH,
enhancer, and it you know what I mean. It's all about definitions of what do you consider a performance enhancer.
Yeah, PD.
But to me, it's like these professionals are probably at the top of their peak of health. They're, as long as it's administered by a health professional, they have supervision.
Yeah, they don't abuse it or anything.
It depends on how you define abuse. Some people would consider what they're doing abuse. But as long as doing anything involves risk.
Yeah.
Taking anything involves risk.
Just like anything.
So as long as they're supervised by a medical professional, and
which they have plenty of, they have a lot of access to that,
and they know the risks that are involved. I don't know about you guys, but I want to see somebody hit 70 freaking jacks a year, and I want to see,
and for the fan, as a fan, like you want to see more home runs. You want to like how they were going back and forth. What was it, Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, like back in the day, and both 60? Of them are now looked as cheaters, right? Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa are now both looked as cheaters because they were at least accused. I don't know, you hear the stories and things like that. You don't really know if they were taking it or not, but
Sosa even like had the thing with the cork bat, so that fool was trying to he was getting an advantage any way he could.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that, the cork bats and stuff like that.
But if you look at that era, the steroid era too, there's a lot of players where you look at where it's like, dude, there's no way they weren't taking steroids. I mean, I mean,
for sure.
Like I said, I'm a huge D-backs fan. 2001, Luis Gonzalez. 57 home runs in 2001. Dude, he never was close.
Out of nowhere,
Nowhere near that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like
he's more like a contact hitter, not a power hitter.
Yeah, it's like, where the hell did 57 home runs come from? But I mean, you know, to take it at that same instance, you know, we see not only Jax, but we see freaking some of the greatest pitching performances ever. I mean, Clemens, he's one of the big people. He's not going to get in because he took steroids. But I mean, Randy Johnson, I mean, nobody ever said anything, but I feel like that
just because he's skinny and stuff, just because he looks like a skinny guy, you wouldn't think of it.
And I mean, from what I heard, he's a cocky motherfucker. Yeah. So I mean, you know, you don't think he's gonna take any advantage he can. I mean, the dude won 4 straight Cy Young awards.
Yeah. And I mean, then he's considered to be one of the best pitchers, right? Or if the best pitcher of all time. Right?
Well, then you have probably the most dominant stretch by Pedro Martinez. Dude's 5'9". 5'9", and for like 4 years, dude, he was unhittable. Yep.
You know, fucking blowing my mind right now, dude. I'm a huge Pedro Martinez fan.
Go in, man. Crazy. I just you know what I mean, though. It's just like to me, it's like, you know, nobody knows if he was or not. But I mean, the dude's 5'9". Yeah, he has a cannon, but I mean, there's got to be something. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's got to be.
It's just so unusual for it not to be like. It's almost like it's like a coincidence that this little guy right here is throwing heat and then you put him in that era, in the steroids era. It's like you hear all these stories about all these other guys using. It's like, well, if they're using, you know, then why can't I?
Like Lance Armstrong, like he was saying, it was in the culture. They accused him of being the ringleader. He was the one handing out or telling people what to take. But if it's his excuse, I guess, was that it was built into the culture. And if that during the steroid era was in the culture and everybody was doing it, like, you don't want to be the odd man out, right? You don't want to be left behind, right? You don't. Yeah. Pedro, if he didn't, like, let's say it's true, and there's other pitchers that are juicing up, they're gonna pass his ass, and millions are on the line, and all this is on the line. Like, give me a little shot of that shit. Like, give me a little hit.
I think what makes it, to me, you know, is that they lied. Yeah, I think, you know, it definitely hurt their image.
Right?
Yeah, so to me, like, I would have so much more respect if somebody, like, if he got accused and, you know, I'm guilty, man. I did it, but I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but that's the culture. That's how it is. It's either, you know, it's not like the Marines or Army or whatever, dude. They'll leave your ass behind real quick.
So, like Canelo Alvarez, or their excuses that I ate red meat, it was beef.
Yeah, like, I don't know what I'm taking. I don't know what I'm taking.
Exactly. That's what Lance also said. Like, he was saying, I'm not going to lie to you. I know what I was doing. I know what I was taking. That's always an excuse. Oh, I didn't know. Someone offered it to me and I had no idea.
Take responsibility, you know, man up to it.
Give me a break.